All right, and we're back with Steph, the developer of Witchball.
Hey,
Hey,
how
Steph.
you doing? I can't hear the. Oh, I guess we're just in the room.
Yeah, we're just in the
Okay,
room,
yeah,
so we're
okay.
so we're good.
Makes
We're good.
sense.
We're good.
Yeah,
We're good.
yeah,
I get to hear like the calming, pulsing bass noises of your game
Oh, nice.
intermixed with our voices.
Right, okay, that
Yeah,
makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah.
That makes sense.
If you could just lean a little bit closer to the mic, that'd be good.
Oh, okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
Right, so that's why I was like, oh, am I
Yeah.
speaking loud enough?
So hey, cool tournament.
Thanks. Yeah, no, it actually turned out way more. It's not that I wasn't expecting it to be exciting, but I was just like, I had really kind of no idea what to expect. And yeah, so the reason that I had people play on the pipeline and the 2601 maps because they tend to be more exciting and even for some reason. So it worked out too. Like the last two matches were really, really, really close. So that's cool.
Yeah. Actually, 1 second, because I see Jamie. Jamie, if you want to just use the normal splitter as a pass through, just to check that it's not that new splitter, feel free to.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do people like the new font? Somebody should type in the chat. It takes me forever to find fonts that I like, and I feel like I finally did.
Oh, whoops. Sorry. We're doing a quick sort of projector switcheroo here, so I might need to just put this back in for now. There we go. Until that video source is up and running again. Sorry, so what's the new font? Is it the logo or?
Yeah, that one. That one that's on the screen now. Yeah, I don't know. I just did some visual updates to the like I don't know itch page and things like that.
It's on sale now, right? Featured as part of the
Halloween sale. So yeah, if you want to play the game, it's a little slightly cheaper now. Oh yeah, there's a link here happening in the chat.
Yep.
I like reading the chat. This is cute.
Oh, and also happy birthday from me.
Wow, thanks. Yeah, my birthday's a couple days ago, so this is good. This is like this is an extension of it, you know. So pretty good.
So yeah, I mean, I feel like you and I had this conversation at the bar a few weeks ago around just like Witchball and where the game sort of came from. But I always like sort of asking indie developers like, where did it start? Like, what was the thing where you're like, I want to make a game about blank?
Actually, from a couple different places. I mean, it was one of those things where like it kind of came almost fully formed like while I was on a walk, because I was thinking about. I think I'd been playing Crypt recently, or like around that time, and Crypt has like it's like a puzzle, like a block pushing puzzle game, right?
Yeah.
But like you have a magic spell that like freezes a particular square on the screen, and it's just that square forever. And like no matter where you go in the game, that square remains. And so eventually you just keep casting magic spell, and then the screen is just like this mess of like whatever you've frozen.
So you say it sticks with your viewport as you're moving around?
Well, no, because you move from room to room. It's like not like Zelda, but it's like
right.
Static.
But
static
that one block is then shared
it's always
across.
the same. So it's like you can unblock things, or you can ruin the game with it.
Yeah.
But
I could see how that might lead.
Yeah, but it's like the idea of like a video game is a flat screen. It is a square. It's a rectangle in front of you, and just like treating it honestly that way, where it's like instead of treating 3D space as like embodying the fact that you are a thing in 3D space, just like accepting the fact that you are looking at a flat surface, and just using that, right? Where it's just like, you can be in 3D space, but also use the flat surface in front of you. And like sort of the most obvious thing on this walk that I took was treating the dividing line between the two screens as like a volleyball net, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like you're playing Mario Kart or whatever, but like there's a volleyball net and there's also a ball. So
yeah, I really like Mario Kart, but also it's volleyball.
Yeah, I mean, like this plus that is a pretty good way to start.
Right. Yeah, because I know you described it on the itch page as a post-reality Pong-like racing game, which is also a great description.
Yeah. So I always suggest that people start with a name when they're making games, but I was trying to push it further and like start with a description or like a subtitle or whatever. So a post-reality racing game came before all of it, because I had made something called Witchball before, and it was like not at all similar. I just liked the name, but I really wanted to do the name justice. So yeah, it's just, I mean, the idea that it's so the ball part of the game sort of happens in their head almost, or like sonically or something.
Yeah, it's
Where
like a super physical.
It's like dolphins or something, where like you're like running through space, sure, but there's also this like weird subsonic thing that's like happening between you that is also you have to deal with.
Is it psychic? Or
Actually,
no? It sounds like it's explicitly not.
Well, sort of. But here's my sci-fi version of the explanation, which is that there's like you have something implanted in your like cheekbones or something, so that you're able to send vibrations to someone else. Like,
I love it.
Yeah, via something that basically, I don't know, Bluetooth or not Bluetooth, but like something like that. Where it's just like you can send vibrations to someone else's skull, and so they're able to feel them.
Yeah.
Something like that. I don't know. It's not really fleshed out, but that's a fun thing to think about, I guess. If somebody wants to write a sci-fi novel.
Yeah. Netflix series coming soon.
Yeah, please. They gave money to the Game of Thrones guys. Why not give money to everybody? Just do it.
So, okay, so you had this idea for Mario Kart Volleyball, Supersonic, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Love it. Yeah, and I remember you had made some other games before this, if I recall. I'm trying to remember, like, yeah. Was this one of your...
Did I bump something?
Nope, I think we just had something get unplugged and plugged in. We're fine. We're fine. Stream might have just heard the Windows device detected sound a few times. My apologies. It happens.
It's good to know.
Yeah. Had you made multiplayer games like this style before?
No. This was my foray into gamey games with like points and a winner.
Yeah.
Prior to this, it was like a lot of vignette games that were fairly short, and usually like personal or political or both or whatever. So this was like I was commissioned to make a game for No Quarter.
Yep.
In 2016, and I'd been to No Quarter many times, and so I kind of knew the environment. I was like, okay, well, people are probably gonna play it once.
Right.
It should be about 2 or 3 minutes long if I really want to rotate people through. Multiplayer games are a good idea, and I had this idea like the year before that, and like no real reason to make it. I was like working on other stuff, and then I got that commission, and I was like, okay, well, now's the chance. Now's the time. I should just do it now or never.
Yeah.
So the timing was good.
Yeah. It's interesting that like the criteria for No Quarter thing is extremely similar to the bullet list that Mark gave me earlier about what makes a good arcade cabinet game. So
yeah. It's, I mean, honestly, it's like there's like a weird
sorry.
I'm so sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, of course.
I need an HDMI extender. Do you know if there's any setup?
Does anyone on stream have an HDMI extender?
That what? This thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll work.
Great, thank you.
Yep. There's also another splitter set up there that I had plugged the thing right in front of you. It's the thing that's plugged into the US. Okay, yeah. Sorry. Again, coming at you live from the Wonderville sound.
Yeah, so there's this weird like existential conundrum that I faced momentarily while making Witchball, which is why I only worked on it for 1.5 years and not like the rest of my life or whatever. Which is that I was playing a lot of Overwatch at the time, and the thing about competitive games that I realized is that it's developing a competitive game. If your goal is to make it like truly competitive and really good, you're basically just trying to design a coin toss. Like you want it to be even. Like that's the best goal, is that everyone has a 50% win rate.
Yeah.
Like even as their skills improve, you want to maintain a 50% win rate.
Yeah.
And so it was this thing where I was just like, well, I'm working on this by myself. How much of it do I just want to be nonsense, and how much of it is actually like it's a really intense competitive game? And so I just split the difference, and I was like, well, it's good enough. It's like competitive enough.
Yeah.
And the rest of it can just be like, it feels good to me, and I can just like move on, and then it is what it is. Yeah.
And it feels like we saw a lot of that tonight, with a lot of people being like, I've never played this game before. Oh, this is fun. And other people being like, I love this game, and I'm going to do some crazy shit with backwards hacks.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No, yeah. So it works on a lot of, and I'm pretty proud of it for that reason, that it works on like multiple like skill levels.
Yeah.
Like, you can just sort of ignore lots of the game and just like play the ball thing,
Right.
and like it still is pretty fun for people.
Yeah, that's
Um,
an interesting. The coin toss thing is a really interesting thing to think about, because I feel like there's been sort of a trend like over the last year or two where I guess it really started with Gang Beasts, but like the whole Fumble Core thing of like this intentionally obtuse multiplayer game, which is a delight, but there's no mastery element.
Right.
Yeah, and like I feel like Witchball sort of sit in that middle of like there is a concrete mechanic, but there's also a lot going on.
Yeah. It couldn't be too, because I mean, people still describe it as like being sort of disorienting or complicated, but like fundamentally it's super simple. It's
Yeah.
literally like a foot race, which is like the oldest game in human history, and Pong or volleyball, right? It's like
Yeah.
on their own they're very easy to understand, which is like I think the only reason it works. Like if it were any more complicated, it just like it would break down. So it does have that going for it.
Yeah, and you also see that I noticed like as we were ramping up the map difficulty, it's like there's a lot to keep track of in the game on particularly the later maps where there's just obstacles everywhere.
Yeah, yeah,
But it's sort of like you can ease into it in a good way.
yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, people always ask about how much time do we have? People ask about
we're not really on a clock here. This is
Oh,
is our
nice.
sort of
We're
closing
just
segment.
talking?
So yeah, we're just hanging out.
type F if you're still listening. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I don't know. I'm happy to talk about the stages or the abilities or whatever,
Yeah, I mean,
because
I
they're
guess
sort of mysterious, but maybe it's good to dispel some mystery.
here's a great question that I'm curious about. How did you come up with the names for the abilities? Because they're all beautifully evocative.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things to do. I don't really like fancy myself a writer, but every once in a while I like the way that words fit together. And I like thinking of like distinct. I like flavor text. It's like always been fun for me.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite things. It's
Yeah,
just, like,
the best
very
part
clear.
of the magic card is that little like.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
very clear description. So I was like, what if it was just flavor text? You know, and you're just like, kind of.
Like,
What do they
kinda-
mean?
I kind of get it.
Um,
Oh, thank you, J Funk.
Wow, thanks, J Funk. 1111. What a good number.
We've had a lot. I don't know if you saw
I saw some
the.
2222s.
We had a couple 666s as
That's
well,
good,
which is
yeah.
brilliant.
Hey Matt, I know the stream, the playing on the stream is kind of done right now. So can I just take the wireless transmitter off
Yeah.
of Witchball?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the thing is, like the ability names are. I wish that they were all based off of like one category of like human experience, but they're not. They're not. They're like some of them are jokes, and some of them are specific references to like either other people or artists.
Yeah.
So like the first one, so Moonglove. I'm gonna go in what I remember being the order on the
Yeah.
screen because I don't totally.
Yeah.
So like Moonglove, I think is at the top, and Moonglove is I was listening to a lot of ASMR while I was doing the art, and
Okay.
because it made me kind of like anxious because I'm not really like a visual artist, so I had to like redraw characters over and over and over. And so I would listen to a lot of ASMR while I was doing that. And I don't think she still does ASMR anymore, but her name was Moonglove, and I was listening to that like on repeat while I was doing it, and it was just kind of nice. She was like practicing Vietnamese or whatever,
Yeah.
and I'm just like drawing this like stupid person running like over and over. And Moonglove in Magic the Gathering is poison. They're all poison cards. So, and I already had a poison ability designed, so I just named it after that.
What's Moonglove in Magic the Gathering?
I think it's like a poison flower.
It's a poison flower.
I think so,
Yeah.
if I remember right.
Was this in 2017?
This was in 2016.
2016.
Summer of 2016.
Okay, I was not following new Magic cards in 2016.
Oh, I don't know if it's new.
Is
but
it
I'm,
old?
I-
I'm surprised I don't know it.
If,
But I
if somebody
believe
wants
that
to call
it's
me
right.
out on this now, this is a good time because I'm pretty sure I remember Moonglove being like.
Moonglove. It sounds super familiar. So like I'm
Um,
willing to bet that it's
Yeah.
a
Anyway,
thing
so
from
yeah. So that was her ASMR name, and I was listening to a lot of it, and I was like, I already had a poison ability, and so I was like, I'll just name it after her. What are some of the other ones? Suit of Colors is.
That's swap, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the flavor text is something like I Am Your Moon, You Are My Moon or something.
Excellent.
I was the first two Bat for Lashes albums are I was listening to I love those first two albums, and I was like returning to those, and the whole second record is about like two celestial bodies like orbiting each other, and so that sort of just like made sense with like two things swapping positions like repeatedly.
Yeah.
Gosh, what are some of the other ones? World Princess is I love Grimes, or I don't know how to feel about Grimes now.
Yeah, it got difficult.
But we're flashing again. So I had to go back, and actually there's two versions of the game. There's one where I have changed the flavor text for the Grimes ability, and one where I have not. Because after she did this like crypto-fascist heel turn kind of thing, I went back and I changed the flavor text and I updated the game. So some people might not have the one that's like a little bit more like passive-aggressive, but it's still there.
Yeah, that's very good.
Yeah, and then some of the other ones are just like jokes. Like Backwards Hat is like literally like if your hat is backwards, it's like a little different. Or Denier is like climate catastrophe is like a major theme in the game where you're literally playing on like old
That's right. We moved
infrastructure.
past this, and I didn't make you talk through.
Yeah, we'll get to that. But
Okay.
Denier is a direct reference to that, which is just like it's the text is something like something for me, like nothing for you. So what does it is it clears all the points on the ball, but you only get half of them. So it's just the idea that like,
Oh, you get points from activating Denier.
yeah, you take,
okay.
but only half of what it's
But only
worth.
half of what's there.
You take half of what it's worth, but you clear
Interesting.
all of them.
Yeah.
So you're erasing points, possible
Yeah.
points, but you're stealing.
Yeah, there
some,
were
so-
a few big denies in the last set there, since people just get it between laps and be like, all right, let's see how we can use this.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Some of them are weirder. Sawdust is like literally like it's the bit that got in the way or whatever, which is like that's what sawdust is. It's like the wood that was in the way of the blade. Unfortunately.
Yeah. That's good.
So yeah,
That's
so,
good flavor text.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. They're kind of all over the place in that regard. But yeah, I don't know. What was the other thing you were
Oh, I
gonna ask
want
me
to.
about?
So, what is the world that the game takes place in? 2601.
Yeah,
I believe?
2601. So that's a year. That's just a year that I was thinking about, and I have more to say on that on a later date. But if you imagine it being like in the knowable future, so you know, however many 600 years from now or whatever. So a lot of like fossil fuel infrastructure is like speculative. It's like they just keep building it to ensure like investors, people have paid for it, that it's like full steam ahead. Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. And also to like keep the ball rolling on this like sunk costs fallacy thing where it's just like we sunk all this money into all this like stuff and all these new platforms and pipelines and stuff. And it's like we gotta use them, otherwise it's wasted money. We can't transition to like solar or whatever or other stuff. So it's the idea that like this stuff will just like be around forever, even when it's useless. So like one of the third level like great investment. It's just like a sarcastic name for like a giant pipeline that was like never used.
Yeah.
It's just like, wow, what a good job you did. But it's like imagine that the kids are gonna like just play on top of it because it's like, what is it? It's like not being used. It's just like for fun now. It's just like some garbage that you play on. So yeah, every track is a different like pipeline variation. There's like the buried pipeline in the forest where trees don't grow, and then there's like the trench level where it's like that's where a pipe would go, where it's like they didn't quite get to that point, and then there's like the literal like above ground pipeline.
Yeah.
It's like really huge,
Right.
for whatever
this
reason.
Massive thing.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's that. Yeah, my dad worked for Marathon Oil for a long time, and then was an independent contractor in like the oil industry in northern Russia and like Siberia, and so he used to tell me about all those like weird projects.
Yeah.
It was just like just building stuff for whatever. I don't
Building these extremely long tubes that we know will stop being useful at some point.
I mean, they're already not useful, right?
Right,
It's just
right.
it's like time. It's like way past time to move on, but like that's just not where like the
Yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah.
geopolitics or whatever.
It's a late night stream. We could go in whatever direction.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Are you? I know I personally am a huge fan of anything man-made that is overgrown. Just like eat it up.
Yeah. I mean, that's like a cool. It's like one of those things where it's like the sort of like post-apocalyptic aesthetic is like
Yeah.
a little over. It's like a little overdone, and it's and overdone in like, not like a way where it's boring, but like, it doesn't really. It rarely says anything new.
Right.
And I had kind of already done that with like my previous collection of games, which is called Rooftop Cop, which is about a police cult that are the only remaining humans on Earth. Like police, because they can do anything, they're the only ones to survive. It's sort of an extended joke.
Oh wow, yeah.
But there's some like the police like sitting on a raft casually floating through like a flooded city or whatever.
Right.
And there's vines going up the buildings and stuff like that.
Right.
So I'd already done those drawings before, and I was like, didn't feel like doing more of those. So, yeah. I'm kind of on a mission to make a game on every genre, though. So I've done my competitive racing game.
Yep.
Feel good about that. So yeah,
Cool.
gonna keep moving
That's
forward.
a cool goal to have.
I like a lot of different game genres, and it's fun to like explore the unused space in them, I think.
I'm really curious about this one, even though I feel it's a little off topic. What are you playing these days?
That's like it's always like an embarrassing answer
There's
because
no wrong
like
answer.
honestly, like I played a lot of Fire Emblem because it's just like the one AAA game that I really like, and also I feel like I can hit the zeitgeist on. It's like fun to participate in the zeitgeist
Yeah,
for
there's
like
a
a moment.
community there that's like.
Where like a lot of the people that I know, either in New York or like I follow on Twitter or whatever, are very like either journalists or whatever. They're constantly playing, like they kind of have to for their job,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But it's like I can't participate personally in that. But that's like the one game. Whenever there's a Fire Emblem game, I know that.
Everyone's in on it.
Yeah, and I know that I'll like it, so I'm like,
Yeah.
cool. I get to like hang out at the party for like a month, or whatever. So yeah, I played a lot of Fire Emblem. I'm almost finished with my second playthrough. Other than that, I don't know. I've been going back to Divinity and RimWorld. It's like a simulation game.
yeah.
So yeah, I play mostly like strategy RPGs. So someday maybe I'll make one. But
It's a genre.
yeah,
It's on the quest.
it is. Someday, I mean, I should. I mean, I definitely will make an RPG at some point.
Yeah.
It's daunting because it's
So
kind
much.
of my favorite.
Yeah.
It's kind of my favorite thing. So.
Yeah. So you feel a lot of like, you really want to do it right.
Yeah. I'm just like, should I wait until I'm like 55 to like really know? But I don't know.
All right. Well, I think things are starting to turn up down there. So
It's
we
detecting
might be
transmitter.
Yeah. I fear that Jamie's going to come up here and have to do a bunch of stuff with the sound.
Okay.
Anything else you want to share with the stream? Anything you want to plug? Obviously, Witchball is on sale now. Please donate. We're building a cabinet for it.
Yeah. Please donate to the cabinet fund. Also, come to Baby Castles. Support Baby Castles
that's
too.
right. Do you want to talk about Baby Castles a bit?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So I'm
Mark,
also.
if you're talking about DBAA, talk about Baby Castles.
Yeah, no, it's cool. Yeah, so Baby Castles is almost 10 years old. It's also a nonprofit, a gallery for independent video games. It's in Manhattan. If you have not been there, you should definitely come by. Our current exhibition is all games from. It's called the Year of the Pig. It's all games from China, Taiwan, and Hong Kong. Really, really good. There's some games there that you cannot play anywhere else. Devotion is there. Has been pulled from every store. But yeah, so I got involved in Baby Castles in 2012-ish. So I'm a
So pretty early on in the life cycle of Baby Castles, then, right? Like 3 years in.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a co-founder of like the physical space. Before it was like a sort of a traveling
Yeah.
band of misfits.
Yeah.
When I joined, and then I'm one of the
Right.
So support Baby Castles. Come into those things.
Support Baby Castles. Also follow them on Twitch. Is it just Baby Castles on Twitch? I
Yeah,
believe?
we do have it. We
Yeah.
stream a lot of
Yeah.
stuff too. So do that too.
Subscribe to this channel, and you'll get notifications when they go live because we're set up to auto host. I gotta talk to Carl about getting that set up on your site.
Oh, cool. Yeah. DBAB Castles was a thing that we.
I fixed it. I've had to type the other one a bunch of times today. Yeah, Baby Castles does a really amazing stuff. Like, it's just these all-out installations. How many a year is it?
It's too many, honestly. It's, I mean, we tried to keep it to 4, but now we're up at like 10. So it's a lot. Well,
I'm so sorry. The setup is
It's busted?
completely.
Okay,
So
cool.
I just want to be able to play a YouTube off that can.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna wrap things up here, and then in like the next few minutes. Yeah. Cool. Boy, can I call it. Well, I think that's going to be it for the stream tonight. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in and donating. The fundraiser will be staying open for a little bit longer, so please check out that link. We've also got a blog post that I linked in our description talking about what goes into building this cabinet. If you enjoyed us, subscribe to the channel. We'll be doing more events like this. We've also been sort of rolling out these DBAA Plays events where we sit down with local devs and just play a game with them and talk about all of the things I talked about with you, basically.
Yeah.
So thanks again so much, Steph, for joining us.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Thanks.
Congratulations on your coming cabinet.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's gonna look really good.
It's a really, really spectacular game for that sort of format. And also talking to Ilya about all the crazy shit he's got planned for it is
I think
super exciting.
I think the cabinet form is like the ideal final form for the game.
Yeah. All right. So thanks so much for tuning in, everyone, and we'll see you next time.